What up? What up? DJ J-Ronin, J-Ronin Podcast, All Elements Mix Show. I'm tapped in. You already know that's the new brand we repping. Low lives all day. I got my big bro, the low life general, General Low himself. Ha-ha! Thirstin Howl in the building. Thirstin Howl the third. Salute. 2 L's.
Salute. It's going down.
Father's Day coming up. I see your cup, your mug.
Nah, I'm trying to keep sweating, man, after the workout, man. So
yeah, I'm working out later, hitting the dojo later. I gotta get right, you know.
Do the coffee and the hoodie after.
Yo, I did a whole lot of running around in the Virgin Islands and Florida. I thought I would lose weight, but everybody was feeding me too much. All these barbecues and oh man, I ain't lose nothing.
Discipline, young man. Discipline.
I know.
Discipline is a major factor, man. When you learn how to really incorporate it, you'll get everything you want. You know?
Yeah. I got most of it. I just gotta get the weight right now. Everything else is doing good.
All right. What it is. Keep it going.
But anyway, we just linked up in Orlando, Love and Loyalty weekend in Orlando. Shout out to the whole Miami family, the Orlando family. It was beautiful, at the Low Mansion. We had a great meeting. I came back inspired, getting brothers more organized on this end, But we had a great time, man. Shout out to Supernatural, Young Hump, PD Crack. DJ Access was working hard. I had to fill in a little something. That was a great time. I know you had a good time.
I mean, you see, I'm on work, man. But I enjoy myself, so it's not work at the day, but...
You enjoy yourself a little bit. I saw you.
Yo, I enjoy myself when I see everybody else enjoying themselves, because that's the whole intention of doing it all. I want to see other people smiling. Low happy makes me happy.
Right.
That's how I know, my brother B Born was here with me.
Shout out to B Born.
Them little things made me feel good. That's why I do this, is to bring the people together here. And, and just to see how my team moves, man. And everybody makes me proud, because the kind of assistance I receive on this end is serious, man. This is a real team.
Shout out to Kiko, shout out to Earl, shout out to Benny, shout out to everybody that made it happen. Everybody worked hard. I felt at home. I haven't felt that good at low events like that in years. It was nothing like being in New York. I mean, Miami was always great, but this felt even better.
Yeah, you got a chance to be more personal and intimate with everybody this time around.
Yeah.
Because before you popped in and out, because, we was working so much, you never really got to talk to nobody. But at this point, even after the work was done, everybody kicked back together, got to chill, eat,
right.
And to see exactly how we're working and moving, man. To see coordination, to see our timing, see how we follow that clock. A lot of people don't understand that part of it. Like, yo, follow the clock, my nigga. Yeah. If you follow the clock, you'll get a lot of shit done. Respect the schedule. Respect how you gotta move, and you know what? When another nigga ain't
gotta
moving,
put stuff in your calendar.
And push.
That's how I live. If it's not in the calendar, it don't exist.
Out the way. If you're not gonna move by the clock, get out the way. Get out the way and on the side, man. Because the shit is straight 100%.
Up. You gotta be disciplined with that calendar. Several years ago, I started doing that, and I just achieved so much more. Just studio sessions, interviews, DJ gigs, events I want to go to, a network at, pop up at, family time even. You got to schedule things. You got to, do it all.
Man. I schedule my family just as much, man, because I make sure I make the time for them.
Right.
So like when I schedule my family time, I mean, nothing else is happening. I'm sticking same way when I got to work, my family knows, hey, that's his work time. We schedule that. We even had a about it with the family. You know what I mean? The same thing you saw that we did with the brothers, I do that with my family, man. Constantly. That's how we rolling. That's how we
need attention. Your wife needs attention. Shout out to, V. you know, you gotta have that quality time. That's being a husband, being a father, being a part of your family, you know?
But the communications is the utmost. Like I said, that's why those meetings even happen at home. Me and my
Right,
son discuss it. My daughters, we discuss what gotta happen, when it gotta happen, how it gotta happen, what's your goals, you know, what's your fears, what you need to accomplish.
right,
Like it's just the open line of communication that helps so much more. Because even when I ask my son certain questions and all that, I could tell them of times in my life when I failed or I lost something or something where I underachieved, you know, so they can open up and be able to express things like that too without looking at it like, you know, it happens to everybody. You got to understand that. Just know how to deal with it and keep moving
right,
on, man. So
right,
that's part of the building process, man. And I think, like you see here, man, we try to incorporate that within the whole family, team, unit, and all. Like we point out flaws, we help brothers make corrections, we help people fix themselves, whatever's needed. But I don't think nobody should suffer because of one person's, you know, slacking or not being on point. So everything gets addressed, man. And that's how
right.
the team is supposed to move. There's no room for none of that. Not at this age, yo. At the age dudes is, yo, ain't no room for no do it over, you know, my bad. Nah, I ain't trying to hear none
Yeah.
of that. It's too
And you
late.
know, I guess what you might consider a second generation low. You know, I came in with 2004. Is that second generation, beginning of third generation? I don't know how you look at it.
I mean, for me, it's new millennium. You know
New
what I mean?
millennium,
It's
new
all the,
millennium lows.
but still,
I've
it's
been
all the,
around almost 20 years now. So some people who just coming into it, I look at them like, oh, welcome, but put some work in. You know what I mean?
put in work, man. I only
Yeah, of
respect work, man. The work tells
course.
me you are, not your mouth.
But
When I
my
see
point
you
was,
resume,
yeah, yeah,
then I know.
my bad. I'm gonna say there's people who are 15 years older than me who've been around a long time, and I'm lecturing them. 15 plus years. I'm like, you grown. You one of you was around in 80, 88 or 92 or whatever. We gotta grow up. Come on, guys. Like this is ridiculous. I feel like I shouldn't have to even do that, but sometimes I do.
Well, as long as they receptive to it, man, it might be needed. So there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, sometimes. Nah.
Well, I mean, like I said, man, at this day and age, there ain't no time for none of that, man. Ain't no
Right,
time to my bad. Ain't no time to hear, oh, that's so. Nah, man, it's too late in the game. Like
right,
nobody's playing with this at all. We got a powerful network. Let's make it work, man. That way it's beneficial to everybody. Get the slackers out the way. You know, get the people fumbling the ball out the way. Like, yo, let this really ride properly, man, and start
right.
calling out people and get them out the way that's disrupting what we have, man. You know, we
Definitely.
got a lot of good people involved. Let's keep them involved. Sometimes they bounce because they see the ignorance that be in our midst, man, and we
Right.
need to start separating that. Like
Definitely.
call it, get it out the way, man. Ain't no more room. Ain't no more time to be waiting on nothing. Everybody's a middle-aged man with AARP cards and all that. Yeah,
Yep.
this is a fact, though. It's not even a joke. People got grandchildren already growing up to be teenagers and things like that. So
Right.
it's no more time for games, man. Nobody should be playing with what we built and established here.
Right.
Let's take it all away.
One thing you said was Low Lives has become a hip hop organization far beyond boosting and criminality, and it's something that Zulu Nation could have been, and it's growing and growing. And more people are coming in, and there's checks and balances there. You
I mean,
even
Zulu was an inspiration for it.
of
You know,
course,
they way to show how it can be done within, having a worldwide organization under the culture, So
right,
I'll look to what Zulu established as the same as Rocksteady Crew.
right,
I
yeah, sure,
those two be worldwide organizations, you know, as far as being a positive force and helping to connect all the people that was part of this culture. You know, I'm just happy Low Life is able to contribute in that same form now, you know, and I'm proud of that, man, because that's like, this is probably only the third time it's been done, you know. That's really hard to do, man. It's hard. I thought getting a record deal was hard back in the days, you know what I mean? But I believe it's a lot harder to develop a subculture, man, than it is to get a record.
And to get people to work together, and especially in hip hop where ego is encouraged. I look at somebody like RZA. He's a master. The way he put 9 people together like that, that's not easy.
Yeah. You know, deal with 9 different personalities, characters, attitudes, egos, and I mean, growing up in the projects, man, you do that daily. So that's not magic for us, man. It's a normal way of life. You know, growing up in the Garvey and all, I'm used to coming outside every day, and I have 50 people waiting for me. So different personalities, different characters, different kind of hustlers, different kind of just people in general, man. I was able to learn so much and be surrounded by so many different characters that it teaches you how I can maneuver through life anywhere. You know, I'm accustomed to it.
Training in New York City growing up trains you for everything. They say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you though, that New Yorker that is born and raised in New York, that means you're trained. You on that training ground. When you take that shit someplace else, you will see exactly what it is. You will see the power you have. You will see what New York gave you. I think in New York, the competitiveness stays that way at all times on every level, from, you know, fashion, the drama, the fighting, and it's so constant. Everybody don't really get a chance to see how powerful it really is. You constantly having to utilize, you take it someplace else, man, and you'll see how your power will manifest so much greater, man. Being raised in New York is the greatest training ground I ever heard of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Speaking of training and working, let's talk about the new album that's out right now. It just dropped May 18th. Skillustrated.
Just my album back 6 months, yo.
My bad. It's a lot going on, you know. May 18th, Skillustrated, fully produced by Matteo Getz, aka Getz Low. This is a really, really good album. It's short and concise, but it's very solid. You know, Matteo really has become a really dope producer. Shout out to him out of Framingham, Mass. You know, you got the Brownsville Legends record with DV Alias Christ and Smooth the Hustler. You got the Lows and Cons record with UG from Cellar Dwellers and Rockness Monster from Helter Skelter. You got that the Thirsty Giants joint with Master Ace and AG. You know what I mean? You got the record with Hurricane G. You know, whatever mommy want, right?
Whatever mommy wants.
Let's talk about how you first met Matteo Getz and how your relationship came together, and then how this album came to happen.
I mean, I met Getz in the 90s, man, when he was a young teenager out there making mixtapes and stuff. I met him in Framingham, Massachusetts. I met him through Ajax Low.
Shout to Jax Low. Yeah.
Yes. You know, I was rocking with Jackson a lot out there.
Right.
And Jackson was like Mateo's best friend. They was living up in the big mansion and all that in Massachusetts. So I met that, but you know, ever from the day I met him, man, he was just die-hard, hungry hip-hop, 1,000%. You know, somebody who you could see his whole life is just hip-hop, nothing else really mattered. And, you know, kind of the person I am, man. Everything is hip-hop in my life. So, I mean, as time went on, you know, we always worked together. I always did work with Ajax. Matteo always produced, and he had got a studio in his mansion. And, you know, he would let me use the studio all the time, even for my own stuff.
Right.
You know? And it was just a place where all the Havoc House dudes used to be. So it was like their hangout too. And I would be there even if we wasn't working on music. You know, I would come hang out, big pool tables. It was a bar in there and all of that. So, you know, we would just be having a good time, everybody. But I mean, like I said, man, he die hard hungry dude for this, man. So we've always worked since then. And, you know, we finally came to the conclusion to make this album, you know, many years later, but it was just because it was time for that, you know?
Right.
And the way I structured the album was more like we doing it for Matteo more as a producer. That's why there's so many features on the album. It wasn't really about Thirstin. I wanted the album to be about Matteo. You know what I mean?
You know, there's a lot of features on there. Very, you know, as I was working on the radio mix to go along with this podcast, I'm like, damn, I'm trying to find a solo record on here. There ain't too many.
Yeah, it was only two. It's only two.
Right.
You know, like I said, because all the names, we wanted to attach all those names with Matteo Getz' name. You know, just the world know he's been in the ranks, he's been producing, and that he's here. So, you know, this is like his star power album. I mean,
do me a quick favor. Can you turn that screen off? Because the reflection is in your eyes.
That's better?
Or just turn that screen off.
That screen is big. That shit is going to go. It's going to go.
The light will go?
Huh?
The light will go?
Nah, that's my computers that's in front of me.
Oh, okay. It's showing a reflection. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm seeing the whole website.
Nah, it's all good. Oh, I could change that. Hold on.
Or make it, you know, blank white or blank black. I don't know, whatever.
You make it promotional now.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, like I said, Matteo's a diehard hungry dude for hip hop, man. And I know very few people of that caliber that nothing else matters, you know, when it comes to hip hop. And he's definitely one of, it was just time. You know what I mean?
Anytime I was in the Boston area, we would link up. This is back in the day, and he'd have a box of his mixtapes and your product, and he'd be moving them, hustling. And you know, I was the same way. I sold thousands of mixtapes in Massachusetts.
Yo, I've been in shows, right? Like I've done shows in Massachusetts where I can honestly sit here and say, you know, we at the venue. Matteo is working the merch table for me, but the venue is empty. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, damn, ain't nobody here. So every time I go back to the green room, I'll be like, damn, there ain't nobody out there. But when I go check on the merch table and I ask Matteo, yo, how much did we do so far? He'd be like, we at 400. And I'm 400? Where's the people? Every time I came back to check on the table, it was always up. From 4, next time I came, it was 7, then it was 9, but I'm like, yo, there's no people here. Where the fuck you making that money at? But that just goes to show you the kind of hustler he is.
Right.
You know,
you got to pull him in. And Massachusetts, especially before the streaming era, was really good for moving CDs. I remember shows where I moved.
Not just moving CDs. Massachusetts is one of those places where underground hip hop thrives forever. Right. You know, there's certain cities where it's probably never going to die. You know what I mean? Boston, Massachusetts is one of those places, like LA is, the same way New York City is.
Right.
You know, the same way they have those different scenes in a variety of places. But that's one of those cities that it always is thriving, man. Hip hop, period.
Definitely. So how did you come up with the name Skillustrated?
I had the title for a long time. You know, I have a book full of these titles, man.
I know this, but I wanted people to find out about it.
Sometimes I look at what's going on in times when I want to throw out an album, and I see which title might fit the times more, or which title fits this group of songs I got. You know, it's a lot of different ways I think about it. Like I got all the next albums, they ready too. You know what I mean? I just got to pace myself on how I put them out.
Right.
Or Skillustrated, of course, you know, is from the Sports Illustrated concept and idea is how I got the title. But I mean, Thought Skillustrated says it all.
What was it like working with Hurricane G? Rest in peace to her. You know, can you share like a fond memory you have of working with her?
Oh man, I got a million memories, man. I mean, Hurricane is very moody in the lab, right? You know, she's a female. Like,
Fix all those skits when she's cursing everybody out.
nah, just be in her mood. She's always sweet and polite and all that, but
Right.
you know, be in her mood to where, you know, just leave her alone. Don't bother her. It's not like she's cranky or whatever, but you could feel the energy at times. But she always delivers. Like, I never had to write no bars or nothing. When she shows up, Hurricane, you know, I gotta tell her where to cut that shit short because I only need 16 bars and she's bringing 43. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, kind of person she is in the lab. And she's always down to work, man. It's like anytime we together, you know, it's not like we meet up at the studio. She comes, she stay at the crib for
Right.
it could be weeks at a time. You know, we doing everything together.
You get so many songs together, videos.
Coffee, you know, we working on songs at 6 a.m. You know, she hangs out with my kids, with my wife, you know, so it was always a structure and formula of how we did stuff, man. But we always got busy, man. And I could say she really loved doing this, man, just as much as me. And the thing complimented us so well is that, you know, I felt like I didn't know nobody else who could really touch that Spanglish the way I could, like my style, my swag. And she was able to match me, man, like 100% on that shit. You know, we both from Brooklyn, the way we both grew up and things like that, but still having a strong Puerto Rican background, you know? So, you know, I had fun with her,
couldn't
man.
think of anybody that could really, who's established, who could really keep up with that, you know? Not really.
Busy, and she, you know, she even told me her whole career, she never really got a chance to do that, you know? Like, even when she was with Def Squad, not everybody could relate to the Spanish, you know, because she was the only Spanish member. And then, you know, when she got to do her solo stuff, she worked a lot with Domingo, the producer, and that's when she finally started getting into her Spanglish. I mean, when I heard Underground Lockdown by her and Domingo, that's when I was seeking her out. Like, yo, where's she at? I gotta work with her. We gotta get it popping.
Definitely. Shout out to Domingo, great producer.
Yeah, but rest in peace.
She rap for a few things, you know, back in the day.
She gets it, and she get it popping. However, it got to get popping. You know what I mean?
If we tell she don't mess around,
sure, she gonna thump it out. She gonna do everything, man. You know, I respect somebody like her so much because she never came in like on some Hollywood shit. You know, she came in when we struggled together. When we had something together. You know, it was always on some family and love. Even G used to even come to my family reunions with my grandma and all my cousins and everything. Like, so when she passed away, you know, everybody was asking about her, man. Even my older uncles was calling me to give condolences. You know, everybody how tight we was, man. You know.
Yeah. You know, I know I already give you my condolences, but my condolences again. You know, she's definitely a great figure in the culture. And having this video, this animated video, whatever mommy wants, is a dope tribute to her, you know?
Yeah, man. I was glad I could do it too, man, because I had another video I wanted to drop as the lead, right? But I didn't want to drop the mommy wants, man, because it was around, you know, it's her birthday time as well. And I didn't want to feel like people think like I'm using that as some promotion for my album or something. But
you continuing her legacy.
But you know,
one of my real. It's not, you know.
One of people's pointed that out to say, yo, it's you, dude. Like, everybody know how you love her. Y'all rock. Drop that video on her birthday. So it kind of made more sense because it's also her birthday on May 20th. You know. I'm glad I was able to honor her in some form, you know, because she just passed away in November.
Right,
But
right.
it's like, at least I got something out, but I'm not done with honoring her,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, the
Just
only people I know who rep her hard besides you was Sarah Connor. You know, I mean, she was with her in the Spanish Harlem video back in the day, and they was always cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but nah,
That was really
what
it.
brought to the table, man, as far as hip hop and all that, and that voice, it's like it'll never be duplicated, man. Her voice is no different than a Sadat X voice. You're only gonna,
I agree. You
you
know
know what I
what's
mean?
crazy? Certain accents you don't even hear anymore. Like that New Yorican accent, it's going away.
Yeah.
And you don't hear it. And certain accents you hear in the Black community too, like the way 60-Second Assassin talks, for example. People don't talk like that anymore. Like the way certain accents or like how
It's
Papa Wu spoke. You don't hear that.
a
You know?
lot of it has to do with the internet and how we all connected now, even down to clothing. Like you could go in
Yeah.
any city of America and the people are gonna look the same now because they have the same access to everything. Before, you know, like back in the days, you only had the access of what was in your neighborhood. That's what showed all our
Right.
individuality of where we were from. And it
Right.
ain't like
Yeah,
no
yeah.
more. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, now you could buy anything on the internet. But you know,
Yeah, but even
I
G,
try to
like
do different things
you
because of
the
that.
G was like the Cardi B before Cardi B. You know,
Right.
and when I
Yeah.
heard Cardi B come out, it was like hearing Hurricane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I mean, it's not like she took anything from her, whatever, but just the whole accent, the cadence, you know, the kind of offbeat flow and things
Right.
like that, you know. So it shows, like you said, that's not existing too much anymore.
Not on the same level. I was gonna say, you know, touching on fashion, Jordans used to be more special. Now everybody got Jordans. You know, and I like Jordans. I love Tinker Hatfield's designs. I'll wear some Bo Jacksons or some Nike Air Raids before I wear some Jordans sometimes. And me personally, I've been wearing a lot of Ewings, as you saw when I was in Orlando. They do a lot of cool collabs with different hip hop artists. You know, I'd like to see a Low Life or Thirstin Howl Ewing in the near future.
Yeah, it's going down. Let's do it.
You already talked to them, or you want me to do it?
Make it happen.
I got people over there. All right, we'll make it happen. You heard it here first. But you know, it's just striving to be different. Even like with Low, everybody's wearing what just came out. I'll go back. I'd rather get some vintage, something that's vintage but still look fresh that people aren't wearing right now. You know, you don't want to look like the same. You know, it's kind of lame. You know what I mean?
You just got to know how to do it, when to do it, how to switch it
Yeah.
up. I mean, I one thing I'm gonna always promise to be is unpredictable, like a motherfucker. You cannot predict what kind of song I'm gonna drop, what kind of video. You can't predict what I'm gonna wear, how
Yeah.
I'm come through. You can't even predict what side of the park I'm gonna show up from.
You come in looking like an Eagle Scout, looking like you work for Scarface and this 85 in Miami, you know, coming through with the silk. You never know. You never know.
Nah, but that's how you gotta be, because the whole game is becoming cookie cutter as it is, where everybody has access to the same shit. Like I was saying
Right.
earlier. Like you can't go to an event now where somebody didn't have on whatever shirt you got on at some point
Right.
or at some event. How do you flip it up? I'm
Right.
all about flipping it up to making it memorable, where you're never gonna
Yeah.
forget I wore on this occasion. You know what I mean?
Let's talk a little bit more about the album, some of the features. Was this your first time working with anybody in particular?
This is my first time working with Master Ace.
Nice. Brownsville legend.
Yeah, Brownsville legend. You know, I've known Ace since '84. Well, I met him in '84 in the pool.
On some graph tip, right? I think you guys.
Yeah, I met him through, like, his best friend was my man Thrill. My man Thrill's from the Garvey. That was like Ace's best friend from back then. So I met him through Thrill. you know, but it ain't like me and Ace was ever cool or hung out. We just knew of each other, but
right.
we never really rocked.
Right.
But, you know, good getting him. You know, I've always been a fan. Definitely loved his music, you know, everything he ever did.
And he crafts great
This is
albums.
my first time. This is my first time working with Smooth the Hustler. I've been trying to get that shit popping for the longest. Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Smooth, SMGs, baby. Sex, money, guns.
That was big for me. You know, Smooth is my favorite rapper out of Brownsville. He was out of everybody. Yeah. He came with it. You know,
over MOP and Sean P.
Yeah. Smooth. I mean, come on, we all honest people here. Like everybody.
Your preference is your preference. You know,
it's not just my preference. Remember, I'm all about the skill level Smooth brought to the game from the top. Lyrical skill and abilities him and his brother had was still almost unmatched to this day. You know what I mean? Like I always look at all the Brownsville artists on different levels. You know, of course, to me, MOP are the kings. You know, they're the most dominant.
Helter Skelter though was crazy.
Huh? Yeah, but I'm talking about it's for different reasons. You know,
Skill too. Smith and Wesson.
Yeah, I see. MOP was the most consistent. That's why they dominated the way they did. They had the hard body music, but their consistency made them the kings of Brownsville. Like as far as releasing music, drop shit, they never kept, you know, they never took the foot off your neck with their shit. You know, Smooth and them, their lyrical abilities was on some more other shit. I just wish the consistency would have matched the same.
Yeah.
You know,
they had label issues. I know a lot of
you know the label shit. Remember, Trig was on Def Jam. Christ was on Def Jam when Smooth dropped, and none of their albums.
The alias Christ. Yeah.
So if their albums would have came out, it would have been real fucking different. You know, a lot of things. And then, of course, Helter Skelter. You know, they up there in the rankings with all the groups, but even
you got to work with Rock. That was beautiful.
You know, these are the family, man. These are the regular people like that we fucked with in life, not just in music, man. So it's a beautiful thing, man. But you know, Rock, Sean P, all of them, they all up there high in my regards as far as all the Brownsville artists. But Smooth is my favorite, man. I just, you know, I think the world knows that. Smooth knows that too. You know what I mean? So that's why we went so hard on that joint.
Yeah. Was it your first time working with UG from Cellar Dwellers?
Nah, me and Ugg been working.
You know, Ugg, yeah.
And Ugg got a bunch of pieces out there, you know?
He's dope. He on the production tip as well.
Yeah, he produced a bunch of joints for me too. He produced that Mental Prince joint that I shot a video for recently. When I put that video gonna be retarded.
And he's from Glenwood Peas. He from Glenwood Peas and like East Flappers, Canarsie, you know.
Nah, I already know. You know what's crazy? Because you know I was
living from over there too.
Nah, you know I was living in Starrett City for like 8 years before I moved, right?
Oh yeah.
I never knew that whole time. Ugg was living on my same block the whole time I was living there. We never knew.
That's
and that's where I had a full studio over there and everything. So I could have
made albums together. Oh my
God. There would have been mad albums. If I knew he was there, he knew I was, it would have been a rap. Wow. I ain't found out till after I moved out. Wow. And he was on my same exact block.
You know who else from Glenwood, right?
Who?
You know who else from Glenwood besides Necro and Ill Bill? My dude, Frank Knight, who got the La Plancha, you know, that giant heavy weapon of a chain.
They got a weapon.
That thing is crazy. I took that on the plane with me.
Oh, that's hard.
I had to check that bag. I can't bring that up.
They thought you would have went in there on some gladiator shit.
Like a chingaling, like I'm in the MC, the chain. But one more thing I wanted to talk about before we go, because I know you have another interview. Rest in peace to Jim Brown, you know, the football player, but more importantly, the activist. Talk a little bit about Amer-I-Can and what that meant to you and what Jim Brown meant to you.
Oh man, I mean, I was introduced to the Amer-I-Can Foundation, while incarcerated. I was actually on a work release program, and there was the mandatory programs that I had to take, to be eligible for release. And I knew who Jim Brown was. I'm not a sports fan or anything, but of course,
well, he's a legend. He's like,
yeah, his movies, everything. I've always known who he was. But getting into the program was totally something different. But after I graduated the program, which was a program about just life decision-making process, teach just how to think properly, how to make decisive decisions, how to, just weighing out your options with different things and all that. But I graduated the program in like 6 weeks, and after that, I was approached, by the facilitators to become a facilitator, to teach the program as well to other incarcerated inmates, brothers on work release. And so I took the job, man. I honestly say that I taught that job for maybe 2 years. Like I worked with the work release facility. I worked with all incarcerated dudes, but it wasn't just the job, man. It was something that actually helped transform my life.
Right.
And it just steered me in so many different directions, just being a part of that program. From doing the program, there was some articles written about me, like in California, things about, I believe I was one of the first success stories of the program based out of New York, because the program existed only in California for many years.
Right.
So, like I said, man, so many different opportunities kept coming my way because I was involved in this program. Everything, even down to me getting the job at MTV, was because I was a part of that program. All the different hands coming in to try to help. And that's why I say Jim Brown was my boss. So it's like, I got a chance to speak to him, get to know him, not on a real personal level, but interact from time to time. Hey, the checks ain't show up, or whenever I had to deal with the other brother, David Bryson, he would always even put me on the phone with Jim just to let him know, hey, this guy's doing a great job here. Jim would always commend me or something like that. So, just seeing him pass right now, man, I felt, obligated to where I must shout him out and just let the world know, man, what he did for my life, the impact he had on me, man, because, even being in that program, man, all they ask you to do is to pay it forward and help the next person and help transform the next, think on things like that. And I believe that I done so. Like I fulfilled my obligation. So what they gave me, I repaid it, man. And I want to let Jim know that, that this was my way of saying, hey, Jim, man, thank you, man. And hey, I did it. I paid it forward, man, just like you asked, just like, the program was meant to be. I paid it forward, man, 1,000 times over. And I'm sure them 1,000 people that I paid it forward with, they're going to pay it forward as well, man. So I think, I need to thank him, man, as much as I can, because without him and without that program, I don't know which direction I would have went in, man, being honest.
Speaking of incarcerated, shout out to East Coast, aka Life Low. He's coming home soon. He didn't want to tell me the date. I mean, I know the date, but he didn't want me to put it out there yet. But he'll be back to work in the studio soon. That's our brother right there.
Brother, hold his head, man. Welcome home.
Yes, sir. But I appreciate you. Thoughts Skillustrated out now on all digital platforms. You guys have hard copies coming? CDs or vinyl?
Hard copy. There's so many albums, man. Like, I'm still sitting on stock, man, from all the other albums. And right now, the whole world.
We need some limited edition vinyl, man. Charge more money for it. Come on.
Cause let's do it. Let's do it. I'm down for whatever, man. I just don't want to keep doing it all myself, man. So
no. You gotta get vinyl deals. Let them press it up.
Let's go.
All right. I hit you up about that. But thank you. Salute. Love and loyalty all day. I appreciate you. We'll be in touch. Everybody go
Like,
cop the album, Skillustrated. Buy it, stream it.
Thank you for coming through. Thank you for holding us down as well, you know, participating in the work. And just camaraderie, man. It's appreciated, man. Just know that. You know, I know I'm hard-headed sometimes, but that's part of who the fuck I am and how I do me.
Me too.
You know?
Look at this.
I already see. All right, son. Just stay up and be safe, man. I'm going to jump on.
All right. Thank you. Who else?
Who else, boy?
All right.